You think discipline is a timer. You think focus is a block of time you carve out of your day. You sit down, you silence your phone, and you tell yourself, for the next hour, I will not be distracted. And what happens? Your mind fights you. It claws at the walls you've built. It reminds you of an email, a message, a thought you can't shake. You're using willpower as a dam against a river of distraction, and eventually, the dam breaks. You feel exhausted, defeated. You've spent more energy fighting yourself than you did on the work. This is the fundamental failure of modern focus techniques. They're built on a reactive model. Distraction appears, and you must summon the energy to resist it. Your mind becomes a battlefield, and you are losing the war against yourself. The very act of trying to focus guarantees failure because it creates an opponent, your own reactive mind. The problem isn't a lack of effort. The problem is the nature of the effort itself. You are attempting to impose discipline from the outside in. You are trying to act like a focused person rather than being one. This gap, this constant internal negotiation, is what creates chronic decision fatigue and mental exhaustion. Every time a notification pops up, you have to make a choice. Every time your mind wanders, you have to wrestle it back. You are making 1,000 tiny decisions a day just to maintain a basic level of control, and it is draining you completely. You are living in a state of perpetual reaction. The phone buzzes, you react. An email arrives, you react. A thought arises, you chase it. This is not focus. This is a conditioned response. You have trained your mind to be a servant to external stimuli, and you wonder why you feel scattered. True focus isn't something you do. It is a state you inhabit. It is the difference between a river that is constantly disturbed by stones thrown into it and a deep lake that absorbs the stone with barely a ripple. The lake is not trying to be still. It is still. The goal is not to become better at fighting distractions. The goal is to reach a state where the question of distraction simply doesn't exist. There is a Japanese concept that shatters this entire paradigm. It is called Zanshin. The word translates as the lingering mind or remaining spirit. In the martial arts, Zanshin refers to the state of relaxed awareness a warrior maintains after a technique is executed. It is not the strike itself that defines mastery, but the consciousness that remains after the strike has landed. Picture a samurai in a duel. He executes a perfect cut. The beginner's mind immediately relaxes, drops its guard, and looks to see if the blow is successful. The master's mind does not move. His awareness remains total. His posture is intact. His gaze is soft, but sees everything. He is aware of his opponent, his environment, the next potential threat, and his own center, all simultaneously. His consciousness lingers, unwavering. This is Zanshin. Most people live their entire lives in the action state. They send the email and immediately switch tabs to check for a response. They finish a task and immediately reach for their phone. They have a conversation, but are already thinking about what they will say next. There is no lingering consciousness. There is only a frantic leap from one action to the next, leaving a trail of mental debris and unfinished energy. Zanshin is the bridge between actions. It is the sustained awareness in the space between tasks, between breaths, between thoughts. It is the mind that remains when the thinking mind has finished its work. When you close your laptop, does your awareness collapse into the next distraction, or does it remain settled and observant? When you finish a conversation, does your mind instantly race to the next item on your list, or does it hold the space, processing what was truly said? This state is deeply connected to Foshin, the still mind or the mind that does not move. Foshin is the foundation. It is the deep, unwavering center, like the bed of a river. Zanshin is the water, the continuous, flowing awareness that is never broken, never disturbed, regardless of what passes through it. When you cultivate Zanshin, you are not creating a new habit. You are returning to your natural state before you were conditioned to jump at every ping and notification. It is the antidote to the hyperreactive existence that defines modern life. It transforms your relationship with work, with people, and with your own mind. You stop being a pinball bouncing between stimuli and start being the player, aware of the entire board. The goal is to make this lingering consciousness your default state. To live in Zanshin is to live with a mind that is always home, always present, and therefore cannot be distracted. So how do you build this? How do you move from a reactive mind to the mind that doesn't move? You don't achieve Zanshin through a single grand gesture. You build it through 3 specific mechanical practices. These are the levers you pull to rewire your awareness from the ground up. The first mechanic is the pre-resolved answer. This is the single most powerful tool for eliminating decision fatigue. You must decide your response to potential distractions before they ever appear. The moment you are presented with a choice, should I check that notification? You have already lost. The energy is spent. The pre-resolved answer means you have a protocol. When my phone buzzes during deep work, the answer is already no. It is not a negotiation. The question simply doesn't exist in your mind. You treat these potential distractions like a samurai treats an incoming strike. The response is already ingrained, automatic. It is not a matter of willpower. It is a matter of principle. You resolve the small battles in advance so your mind is free for the war that matters. The second mechanic is the unbroken gaze. This is the practice of maintaining situational awareness on your primary objective, even during transitions. Most people's focus is like a flashlight they turn on and off. They work for an hour, then the light goes out completely as they scroll on their phone. The unbroken gaze is a low-level, constant light. When you finish a task, you do not drop your awareness. You hold it. For 10 seconds after you close a document, you keep your mind on the project. You maintain the gaze on your intention. This is the practical application of Zanshin in the space between actions. It prevents the mental whiplash of constantly switching contexts and keeps your cognitive resources aligned with your purpose, not your impulses. The third mechanic is the soft eye. This is the non-reactive form of attention. When you try to focus, you often create tension. You narrow your vision, you furrow your brow, you strain. This hard focus is brittle. It breaks easily. The soft eye is a relaxed, panoramic awareness. It is the difference between staring at a single point and being aware of the entire room. You take in the whole field, your screen, your notes, the feeling of the chair, your breath, without latching onto any one thing. This is the state of Foshin, the still mind. It allows information to come to you, rather than you chasing it. You're the lake, not the river. When a distraction arises, it is noted within the field of awareness, but it does not pull you out of it. The mind does not move. These 3 mechanics work together. The pre-resolved answer eliminates the internal debate. The unbroken gaze maintains continuity of purpose. The soft eye provides the relaxed, non-grasping awareness that makes it sustainable. The transition from conscious effort to unconscious competence happens when these mechanics become your default state. You will no longer be implementing Zanshin. You will be living it. The common failure pattern is trying to use willpower instead of systems. People fail at the pre-resolved answer because they leave room for negotiation. They fail at the unbroken gaze because they see a task's completion as a license for mental chaos. They fail at the soft eye because they confuse intensity for depth. The goal is to move beyond effort into a state of being where discipline is not an action, but your nature. Knowing the mechanics is useless without the method to install them. This requires a system of practice without interruption. The Japanese call this goji, continuous practice without gap. It is the relentless repetition that transforms knowledge into instinct. You will not build Zanshin in a day. You will build it through consistent, micro practices that close the gaps in your awareness. Start with the first exercise, the transition drill. This is your training for the unbroken gaze. For the next week, your only goal is to master the space between tasks. When you finish a phone call, do not immediately do anything else. Sit for 5 seconds and hold the awareness of the conversation's conclusion. When you close your laptop at the end of work, do not pick up your phone. Stand up and take 3 breaths, maintaining awareness of your body and the fact that work is over. This 5-second buffer is where you practice Zanshin. It is in these tiny moments that you build the muscle of lingering consciousness. The second exercise is the 5-second rule for environmental scanning. This applies the soft eye. Every 30 minutes, set a subtle timer, not to jolt you, but to remind you. When it chimes, you do not stop what you are doing. You simply expand your awareness for 5 seconds. Notice your posture. Feel your feet on the floor. Hear the ambient sounds in the room. See the entire scope of your vision without focusing on anything. Then, gently return to your work. This is not a distraction, it is a recalibration. It pulls you out of narrow, hard focus and back into the panoramic awareness of Zanshin. It reminds the mind that it does not need to move. The third exercise is task burial. This is the ultimate test of the pre-resolved answer. Choose one recurring distraction for one day. It could be checking a specific app or a particular negative thought pattern. For that entire day, you bury it. You make a public declaration to yourself that for these 24 hours, that action does not exist as an option. The pathway in your brain is closed. You are not resisting it. You have eliminated it from your reality. When the impulse arises, you observe it with a soft eye, but you do not engage. There is no decision to be made because the answer is pre-resolved. This is how you build the neural pathways of unwavering intent. Your measure of progress is not how long you can focus, but how quickly you return to Zanshin after an interruption. At first, you will forget for hours. Then you will remember after 30 minutes. Then after 5. The goal is to reduce the gap to 0 to live in a state where there is no gap at all. The final challenge is to make this practice seamless, to move from doing Zanshin to being Zanshin. When that happens, people will look at your composure and wonder how you do it. The answer is, you don't. You simply are. Zanshin transforms discipline from an exhausting effort into your permanent identity. Subscribe for the advanced framework on implementing Goji systems to make this state unbreakable.